What the hell, Zach?
Hello everyone, Martin here for cgboost.com, and in today's video I'd like to share with you a little design process of a robot that I made for my Substance Painter Launchpad course trailers. His name is Barry the Barrelbot, and in chapter 8 of this course you will actually learn how to texture this guy. With it, I'm super excited to announce that the intermediate chapters of the course are now live, so anybody who enrolled in it can now watch them and learn some advanced tricks from them. In this video, I go over the overall creation process of the model, describe the design workflow, the back and forth we had with Zach, and brainstorming ideas for the final look of the robot and the animations we wanted to have for the promo videos. So if you want a little inspiration for your own future models, this might be just the thing for you. Also, one note, the special early access discounted price will end soon, so don't hesitate to grab it now while it's 15% off. But of course, if you would rather learn Blender, you can check one of the courses by Zach. Well, most of the courses on CG Boost are by Zach, but I definitely recommend Blender 2.8 Launchpad, because that will get you properly started. But now, without further ado, let me introduce to you how Barry the Barrelbot came to be. At first, there was the idea, of course. Zach wanted to have an intro for the course featuring a robot character, something slightly cartoony and funny, maybe like WALL-E, but I also suggested some Fallout vibes. We ping-ponged some ideas until I was fairly confident that I can come up with these three concepts. These were done with some 3D base from Blender, so that I already had a simple model to work with, and I painted over them in Photoshop. With that, there were some rounds of feedback from Zach until we chose this concept to be the main robot of the course. The Papa line, by the way, was Zach's idea, and I think it made the whole comical concept of it really work. Also, I decided that for the initial chapters I will actually work with a more simple model as well, so that became the Flybot you already know from chapter 5. Then I proceeded to the environment sketches, one for an indoor scene and one outdoor. Both were set in some sort of post-apocalyptic world I had in mind for this. The backstory is pretty basic. There is a company called Radiogon that made these sorts of robots who are responsible for locating and cleaning radioactive waste. Nevertheless, the apocalypse happened, and even though it wasn't really the fault of the robots, still the human survivors decided to put the blame on them. Now, why waste time on some backstories, you might ask? That's because these are important. Basically, all of the creative decisions I made when making the robot were based on this piece of little backstory. From the shape and functionality of the robot hands, to the overall proportions of the body, and of course the looks of the textures, stickers and various damaged parts, and the graffiti sprayed onto it by some angry survivors of the apocalypse. With all that decided, I could dive deep into the modeling process, quick texturing tests and environment creation, which was kinda evolving all at the same time, so that I was sure that both the robot, the barrel and the whole environment fit together. I went through numerous versions, first in Eevee Render, which gave me flexibility and speed, but eventually I decided to switch for cycles, since I wanted the final look to be more realistic. In the meantime, I rigged the robot and also made UVs for it, while constantly testing its animation capabilities, because I knew I'd eventually need a walk cycle and also some intricate hand animations for it. Somewhere around that time, when I was sure I had all the parts of the robot that I needed, I proceeded to the final texturing, which is the topic of this chapter, of course. The result was this. And that's also what we will recreate in this chapter, with some minor differences like different stickers and decals. With all that in place, it was time to take all that I created and put it into two short videos, one for the teaser, teasing the Substance Painter logo on the Papa barrel, and then the main trailer with the Papa line as the joke at the end. All was animated and rendered in Blender, except the texturing part of course. And for the final trailer, I actually used Render Street Farm to speed up the process. And that, my friends, really saved my ass, otherwise I'd never render the trailer in time. And that was it. Of course, for your texturing process, you don't need to know all this info. However, if you ever decide to make your own model for texturing, maybe with the help of Zach's Blender Launchpad course, you might find this overview valuable. In the chapter itself, we will go through some familiar steps like baking your maps, setting up some new materials from scratch, repurposing created smart materials, and hand painting masks. However, we will also add some new tools to your arsenal. You will learn how to paint height before the baking process, which can improve or even substitute sculpting. Also, you will learn a great deal about adding decals in various forms, using images and stencils, also painting with transparency, which is very important. Finally, we will do some advanced masking with generators and play around with some more particle painting tools. All this and more is now available in the Substance Painter Launchpad course at cgboost.com.